Hello students, I hope doing well. All are welcome to the class. We are going to discuss about the topic formation of sweat in human beings. You have already learned about the topic. That means the excretory organs and their importance. What are they? What are the main excretory organs in human beings? Skin, lungs, kidney and liver. Which was the largest organs in human body? Skin, right? How skin produces sweat? Do you heard about the process of sweat formation? Okay. What are the excretory organs in human beings? Skin, lungs, kidney and liver. What are the functions of the excretory organs in human? First one, skin. Skin is expel water and salt. Then lungs. Lungs can be exchange the gas or it help to breathing. Then kidney. Kidney synthesis of urea. Then the last one is liver. Liver function is it expels urine and water out body. These are the functions and the excretory organs in human beings. All the excretory organs are remove waste materials from blood. Sweat glands are two types. Eccrine glands and apocrine glands. Eccrine sweat glands are the major sweat glands in human beings. Eccrine glands were the first type of sweat glands. It is discovered as they were initially described in 1833. In humans, 2 to 4 million eccrine glands are seen. Apocrine sweat glands. Largest sweat glands in human beings is known as apocrine sweat glands. The apocrine gland is a second type of sweat glands which was first recognized by the year 1844. It also present from birth. These are the two types of sweat glands in humans. They help to the formation of the sweat in humans. There are 2.5 million eccrine sweat glands in the body. They are connected to the surface by coiled to coiled duct. During exercise, sweat is a liquid made from 99% water and 1% fat or salt. Up to cold, sweat evaporated each day. When your body becomes heated, sweat more. The evaporation of sweat from your skin cool the body now. We pick a weight, you also sweat more that time. These are the parts of sweat gland. It includes hair, sweat pore, dermis, sweat gland, sebaceous gland and skin surface. Skin is the largest organ of the human body. Sweat glands in the skin produce sweat. The sweat glands are surrounded by blood capillaries at their base. When blood flows through these capillaries, salt and water from the blood enter the sweat glands. This appears as sweat drops on the skin surface. The main objective of sweating is regulation of body temperature. Only a very small quantity of impurities are expelled through sweat. Urea, salt and water are expelled from the body mainly through urine. Now, I tell some common questions and their answers.
Components of sweat glands. Sweat produced by the sweat glands is composed of water, NaCl, small amounts of urea, lactic acid, etc. What is a sweat in medical terms? Sweat is the fluid composed of water, urea, salt and acids that get produced in the sweat glands in the dermis of the skin. It gets produced in response to the body overheating and helps to cool down the body when it is released through the sweat glands. These are the medical terms. What is the purpose of sweating? The purpose of sweating is to bring the body's temperature back down to 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit anytime the body gets too hot, the nervous system tells the sweat glands to produce and release sweat. The sweat evaporates off the surface of the skin, which cools the skin down. The sweat glands in skin produce sweat. Okay, now tell, is sweat bad or good? Sweat is good. It is needed in order to help regulate the body's temperature. If the body temperature begins to get too high, then sweat will be made to be released to bring the body's temperature back down. So, the sweat is very good in human beings. What is sweat made of? Sweat is a fluid that is made up of 99% of water, urea, salt and acids. It gets created by the sweat glands in the dermis of the skin.
Now, see the video. It explains the details of sweat gland formation.
Sweat glands that we possess. First, we'll quickly review what an exocrine gland is. We'll discuss the secretory portion and excretory ducts of a general exocrine gland, and then dive into the two types of sweat glands, apocrine sweat glands and eccrine sweat glands. We'll also explore a common form of benign skin tumours arising from eccrine sweat glands called cylindromas, as well as a condition of excess sweating known as hyperhidrosis. Now, before we get into the specifics of sweat glands, let us refresh ourselves of the important layers of the skin that we're concerned with when it comes to these structures. Our sweat glands live within the layers of our skin, and their tubular projections form the excretory ducts that emerge at the surface. This top layer of the skin is known as the epidermis, and can be seen in this image highlighted in green. If we take a closer look at this image, the epidermis can be seen as a stratified layer of cells. This layer here is tightly packed together, so as to prevent the passage of any foreign matter into the body, such as bacteria or viruses. It's important to note that in areas where our skin is in constant contact with objects or surfaces, like our hands or the soles of our feet, the epidermis is much thicker, which is obvious to notice in this sample of skin here. This type of skin is known as acral skin, and it helps to protect the hands and feet from the mechanical stresses of walking and grasping objects. The layer just below the epidermis is called the dermis. It's made up of dense irregular connective tissue, and sweat glands are found within it or at the junction between the dermis, highlighted here in green, and the subcutaneous fat located below the dermis. Taking a closer look at the skin, it can clearly be seen that the dermis is made up of irregularly organised collagen fibres, and can be found between the epidermis and the subcutaneous fat. Sweat glands are a type of exocrine gland. Exocrine glands are composed of a secretory portion and an excretory duct. The secretions are made in the secretory portion and are transported to their destination via the excretory duct. This is different from endocrine glands, which release their contents directly into the bloodstream. The image here shows an exocrine gland highlighted in green. If we look a little closer, you can see highlighted in green various structures that look like cross-sections of little tubes. These are the excretory ducts. Both the excretory ducts and secretory portions have characteristic epithelium associated with them. First, let's talk about the different structures that are associated with the secretory portion of exocrine glands. The secretory portion of an exocrine gland houses the cells that make up the secretions for the gland. A part of it can be seen highlighted in green here. These cells line a sac-like space and form a small grape-like structure called an acinus.
Now, check your understanding. Try to answer these questions.
First question. What are the major components in sweat glands? Water, NaCl, salt, lactic acid and urea. Second question. Largest organ in human body is dash. Skin. Eccrine sweat glands are simple and dash. Coiled. Then the last question. Sweat glands in the skin produce dash. Sweat. Correct answers.
I hope you you get the basic ideas about the topic we have discussed. For more information, you can refer various other resources. Here are some important links make you so learn more about this topic. Now, here is an assignment for you. Find the detailed process of sweat formation in other organisms.